what's happening. Yeah, it's weird, but when it comes, to the martial arts, it's like when you spar with other people. I mean, especially in this particular type of fighting that I like to use. I like to use the standing kind of grappling slash striking. I mean, you can easily go to kicking, or you can even go down to locks and submissions from there. So I mean, that's really more or less what it's about. It's a combination of all of them, but really, what I see, it's kind of based upon. It's based upon basically like when the deer, the deer go out and they start fighting each other. They lock horns and then they wrestle each other from a standing position. And this is the same principle that we're using most of the time when you're sparring, especially when you're sparring with a standing grappling like sort of style of fighting. Which I've learned through the Bagua philosophy about this kind of like standing wrestling, but it's also striking, but it's striking with all your limbs and all your whole body. I mean, that's the way I see it. So it is boxing, it is kicking, it is wrestling, it's all of them, dude. It's just it truly is just a mixed martial art, and it depends on the artist too. So it's really, even though it's confined to this certain circular principle, but yet it's also broad enough to where every person can kind of study as they see inclined to what works best for them, their body size, their personality. All that takes a different, it's a different element in it. Because, I mean, an angry, wrathful, vengeful person is going to use what they learned a different way than a person who, seeks after, has some, he tries to be righteous, you know what I'm saying? So I mean, that there's a big morality, discipline factor in there. But I mean, basically, it's like a lot of the animals do it. The eagles, when the eagles lock talons and then fall to the ground, it's a lot similar to that. That's when you like push a spar when you push your opponent to their limitations. You know what I'm saying? And they push you likewise to your limitations. You do this sometimes if you're really into it. And that's another expression of it. You know what I'm saying? Or how the bears stand up and kind of do a sumo wrestling kind of a display. Or the birds dance at each other sometimes, I guess, as well. The nicer of the creation, they find other ways than actual fighting to channel this particular kind of this natural cycle that we go through. And they've also detached us from this to some extent, because it isn't wrong for men to be men, and I mean, and it's not wrong for everyone having a certain confidence in their natural God-given self-defense mechanisms, that are in us psychologically, because it's for a purpose. It's to make us stronger and be more resilient. You know what I'm saying? It's not to... I mean, like I said, anything can be taken and exalted to a too high of a platform. But I'm just saying, this isn't. It's just one aspect of life. It's one expression of it, and you get to kind of live in that understanding of things that. You can see the common themes, and I mean, so why wouldn't people do these sort of things sometimes when it's what they've always done, or that, what is it, the guy who wrestled the angel, you know what I'm saying, and walked with the limp. There's another expression of this fight, You know what I'm saying? It's a spiritual fight, but it's also a physical fight too. So it's not bad sometimes to be strong, you know, in both spiritually and physically, you know. And I mean, why wouldn't? If God is good, you know, and if all wisdom, you know, if you ask, God will give it to you. I mean, why wouldn't this be a part of it? You know, I mean, to some extent, a minor part, not a major part, but just, you know, it helps you to stand. It helps you to endure. It helps you to fight. It helps you to resist the urge to do bad. You know what I'm saying? Really, in all actuality, because since, you know, through a friendlier exchange, you curb the want to do it in a evil, vindictive manner. You know what I'm saying? So that's one way to look at it. And I just want people to look at it honestly. Think about it. If your person's going to be somewhat of what people might consider ruffian, why not let them do it in a way that is beneficial for all? You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's at least the philosophy I see behind it. But here, back to the deer, okay? Over there where I used to live, I had this tree on a cliff. You know, it was probably about a 30-foot. You know, it was almost a straight 90-degree angle down. You know, but it had a slight incline. But during the winter, I noticed one day my tree where I'm always bashing up against it, that a deer walked up the hill and walked right around my tree, and then it walked right down the hill where it came up to my tree. And it was weird. It almost went to observe the tree like they go and observe the trees from their buck rubs. You know what I'm saying? And so I just, you know, that's kind of like, look, you just become in touch with nature. That doesn't make me a pagan. That doesn't make me a Wiccan. You know what I'm saying? If you're out in the wilderness a lot, you're going to see nature. So, I mean, that is not evil. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, when you start to deify things that aren't meant to be deified, that's when these things, these good things, get corrupted and turned over to evil. You know? So, I'm just saying, you know, a lot of people don't, I don't know, and they don't see this aspect of things. I don't know what they would have to say about it, you know, if it's, you know. I mean, I don't think, you know, like, when it comes to church, make church, that's for God, and separate everything else out of it, entertainment out of it. If there's going to be fighting arts, don't practice them during church. If you use the facility as a place to train people, if they're willing, just, you know, make sure you explain to them everything they're getting involved in before they commit. And, you know, that I think that's fine and well, but, you know, I don't think you should combine things that don't belong. Entertainment don't belong in church. The soldierly arts they're not inside of church. You know, I mean, if you are and you're soldierly, then it's in a spiritual sense, so you don't really need the weaponry. You don't need that mindset there. You know what I'm saying? This is about spiritual things, so let's keep it spiritual. But when you're out in the soldierly, you can use that spiritual defense alongside of your physical. So I mean, these are just two aspects, you know, to one thing. You know, I mean, in a better, broader understanding, you know, it's more enriching if you understand it that way. Because I mean, the spiritual really is the hand that pushes the sword. So without that spiritual thing, you know, that hand is weak that pushes the sword, basically. So you got to think about these things that way. What makes this tick? Without the spirit, the body would not be animated anymore. So look, therefore, you must tend to that spirit. Because I mean, even though the spirit is self-animated and automated, whatever, but you do have control over how you develop it, and that's, you know, that should show in your understanding. That, you know, at least your understanding should be there. You should understand things about it. What pertains to things that are beyond our senses, because that's really where the realm of the spirit lies. It's what is beyond our senses, what still exists beyond our senses. That is where the spiritual and the supernatural uh, reside. I mean, it's not that far out of our grasp. It's right there all the time, but you just got to be aware of it before you take it into consideration of the interplay between these two dimensions, basically, in the realm of things we can see and cannot see, or hear and can. We know there are frequencies that are so low that our ears cannot pick them up. We know that there is things that can be seen that are beyond the that light spectrum that are there, but we just can't see them. We know that there are things smaller there that we can't see, but if we use the right equipment, we can see them. We know this thing. We know. I mean, even though you can communicate without the voice, you know what I'm saying, over long distances. I mean, anyway, without the ears. So all this stuff it's there. Or, you know, mothers who have a bad feeling and then they come to find out that their child got in a crazy situation and almost died. You know, these type of things. This is all common stuff that everyone's known about. And how does this operate? Well, this operates just beyond the realm of our senses, and sometimes a lot farther beyond the realm of our senses, but it's a real easy way to look at it and explain it.